Hello, Zaidi boy here, aka a rational Muslim. Now, my dog does not want to eat his food, and the problem is it's not even my animal, although I named him Maximiliano, donde es tu piano? So, doggy biscuits, crushed crushed, crushed doggy biscuit, crushed, like Gary Vaynerchuk style. Crushed doggy biscuits inserted into his kibbles, as per the instructions of Mama Sita. The reason the dog, by the way, the reason the dog is, there are reasons for everything. You might as well know that, right? As if you didn't. The reason the damn dog is by the door. Maximiliano, do you want to try some of this stuff? Give it a go, come on. What's the matter with you? Mamacita feeds this goddamn guy sometimes and he'll eat it. Or she'll put in a special treat as an appetizer. In my case, I crushed I crushed a Timbit. Here you go. Do you want to eat that? Try it out. He's not going to eat it. He's not going to eat it. And moreover, the reason he's sitting here by the door is because that's what our other dog used to do. Shih Tzu. Catty. Catty used to sit by the door because Mama's not here. I mean, granted, I don't play with the guy all day. I might stroke him and massage him a couple of times and all this kind of stuff, but he goes into depression mode, more or less, every time Mamacita's away. My wife. And he sits by the door. This is Shih Tzu Part 2. Maximiliano, he's going to be 3 in June. And his predecessor, his sister slash aunt, Catty, Shih Tzu number 1, she might be like 7 right now. Yeah, 7 or 8 years old. Now she's in Colombia. Su país, the country of my wife. Nice day outside. Not really. Like, it's been raining here in Toronto. I don't even know why I'm making this video, frankly. I should be praying and working and making phone calls and things like this, right? The good stuff. I'm in the process of putting a book on Kindle, one of my first book on Amazon Kindle. So Don Valley Trail obscured by clouds, right? Everything is obscured by clouds. This is pretty intense. Like, you can usually see the lake, you can usually see like Don Valley, like the valley, like in back here is Don Valley, and then you've got like Bloor Avenue or Bloor Street becomes Danforth, of course. This is Toronto. So we're at 3 minutes. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, I'm just testing this. I'm not really testing it. It's a new Chromebook for sure. New meaning refurbished and gotten from my guy who, Maximiliano. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you eating any food, eh? He's just in depression mode right now. So the dog is very much like me. I mean, it occurred to me to make a video about my theory of dogs. It occurred to me to make a video about my theory of dogs juxtaposed with my conception of wanting to make videos and create some content and messaging around Islam. Right? My dog and Islam. So it's like, my wife is a Christian. I'm on Twitter right now arguing with, as it were, a Sunni Muslim. I'm a Shia Muslim. I don't like saying Shia or Sunni because the Quran says that Muslims are simply those who say they're nahnu Muslim, like kunna muslimin wa ma kunna mushrikeen, like we're Muslimin, like we're Muslims. Like, to differentiate between Shia and Sunni, it's just a label. It doesn't mean anything, right? A Shia is someone who follows the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, inasmuch as his daughter Fatima, who Christians apparently venerate, Our Lady of Fatima. What is that? Like, it's like this whole thing is like so complex and so simple. It's like Christianity is Judaism plus, Islam is Christianity plus, Muslims are Semites. How is it that they can be anti-Semites is one thing. Two of my best friends, I'm not joking, Shane Gerzon, okay, Gerzon, his son. Yo, Max, are you gonna eat something? Maxi, please, Maxi. Yo, Maxi, eat it. Hey! Come on, eat it. Oh, he's just in his little funk because Mama said, go to sleep then, have a little nap then. He's in a little funk because Mama Sita is not here and he's just got his eye on the door. He's just waiting for her. And it makes me cry. Literally, I cry tears of, my God, that is real love. It's like our conception of our imams, peace be upon them all. So I've learned so much from Christianity. And my wife, okay, is a Christian. And apparently this makes me a bad Muslim. Now, there's a guy on Twitter and he says something about Christianity or Christians. And I'm like, yo, my wife's a Christian. And then we're like having it out back and forth. And it's all silliness. It's just silly nonsense, right? I mean, there are good people and there are bad people. That's it. You'll be like, what? That's pretty divisive. No, this is not divisive. This is the case. There are those who are self-absorbed and they don't care about other people suffering, and they don't care about animals suffering, and they don't care about children suffering. There are those people that are evil. That's called evil. That a kid suffers and you're okay with that. This is called evil, because you could be then that guy who's perpetuating that suffering and is a cause of that suffering. I'm rambling and going in circles. It's nice to be talking again. I've been in and out of jail. I've been on and off the street. I've been in and out of fights, homeless shelters. It's been a rough 6 months. Rough life, right, Max? Our other dog, Cathy, would do the same thing. Mommy leaves and Cathy's just literally lying on the doorstep, on the doormat, depression mode. And as soon as, the funny thing is this, as soon as Mommy comes back, this guy, he's going to do. He's going to his tail's wagging, he's jumping up and down. Then he opens up and he's coming over to me and he wants a massage, stuff like this. So my theory of dogs is as follows. Like, I want to make videos about Islam, right? And I'm a Shia Muslim, and I suppose that's a technicality. Just like the Quran says to Muslims, Innakum ummatun wahid, you are one nation. Nahnu lahu muslimun. Like, just say we are Muslims. Like, we've submitted to God. What's submission? Submission is equanimity. It's accepting what is. That's all it is, right? So now, I have atheist friends, okay? I have atheist friends on Twitter, many of them. I suppose, I don't know if they consider me a friend, but I've learned a lot from them. And the definition of a believer, I mean, forget about Muslim and Christian is not important, okay? It's very important, but it's not important if you understand what I'm saying. It's not everything. Like the outward label. What's important is believer or unbeliever. Now, this is very interesting because it's very loaded. It's hard to talk about these things because it is. It's just hard to talk about these goddamn things. I don't even know where I'm going or what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this, because it's like all these different threads and then you're trying to pick up on them. My theory on dogs, and then the whole Islam thing. The whole Islam vis-a-vis Christianity thing is like this. Islam vis-a-vis Christianity vis-a-vis Judaism. So you have Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. He had two sons, Ishaq, Isaac, or Ishmael. Ishmael, peace be upon him, and Isaac, peace be upon him, were sons of Abraham. Ishaq gave birth to the line that created Jews and Muslims. Something like this. I don't know which of the brothers gave birth to which. I'm very sure Ishaq gave birth to the line of Semites, which includes Jacob, of course, aka Israel. And then, of course, Jesus comes from that line, I suppose, right? And David and all these things. I don't know. Like, I don't want to sound like a religious scholar. Like, I know what I know, and it's good to own up to not knowing things, is what that is, right? Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said that a person that stops saying I don't know is destroyed, essentially, or is on a path to be destroyed, this kind of thing. Just similar to a person that is involved in anything other than self-improvement, he's on a path to annihilation as well. This stuff is intense, right? Like, it's going on. Like, I'm torn right now between these two prerogatives. Like, because I'm bipolar when I smoke weed, or just bipolar and then I smoke weed, and then when I smoke weed I go crazy. And if I've managed to upload this and you've looked at other videos on this channel, it's like crazy crap. And some people enjoy that kind of crap, and some people get really, really upset, and I get into fights and I go to jail, and then I get into fights in jail. So now, one of my latest realizations is that you must transcend meaning/purpose. I'm going to throw this out there real quick, and I'm tempted to wrap this thing up. At 15 minutes, right? I'm looking at the watch here. I've gotten better at this over the years. I'm happy with my improvement, like making hundreds of YouTube videos. Like, I've had thousands of viewers. Like, if you go to my original Zaidi Boy channel, you can just Google Zaidi Boy, Zaidiboy. You might see my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Facebook, all these kinds of things. Okay, the Liberal Party of Canada follows me on Twitter still. I finally messaged them after all these years, and I'm like, I kind of let them know that I'm not really an ideal person to follow in terms of, like, what people do is they, people that are anti-liberal. I'm not a liberal, like Liberal Party Canada, like the political party of Justin Trudeau. Like, I'm not a liberal. I admire Justin Trudeau a lot, and I tweet about this guy, and I don't like the Conservatives. Like, I like the notion of conservatism and the fact that the founding father of Canada, okay, MacDonald, John, I believe, right? He was a conservative, but as everyone knows, conservatives back in that day are no longer what they are today. Like, the whole thing's been hijacked. They were conservatives, and then progressive conservatives, and then the Canadian Alliance, and then backroom dealings. And I was living in Vancouver like 20 years ago when the Canadian Alliance merged with the PC party to create the New Conservatives. And there was a lot of backroom dealings going on, and I literally was at riding meetings, and I saw a lot of this stuff literally take place in front of my eyes. A guy called Scott Bryson, and then Peter MacKay, and then they're making deals. And then there's a guy called David Orchard. He's a Saskatchewan farmer. This guy, we were supporting, like, my people, us guys. Like, I got pulled into this thing because of David Orchard. He's a farmer from Saskatchewan, and he's anti-NAFTA and all these kinds of cool things. The real deal, essentially. And of course, he was the kingmaker, and he kind of got outmaneuvered by these guys, or somebody got outmaneuvered. Like, the whole thing was like shenanigans. Like, they merged, or like there was like some deal that was broken, like one of these backroom napkin deals. Like, the Canadian Alliance Party was going to merge with the Progressive Conservatives, or somebody was going to merge with the Canadian Alliance on the condition that they don't merge with the PC party, but they broke that promise and they merged and all these kinds of things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stephen Harper, I respect highly and I admire the past Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper. His tenure fell during the time. His tenure was during the time of the 2008, 2009, 2010-ish financial crisis, right? It would appear that every 10 years there are world shocks every 10 years. Like 2010, you got the financial crisis. 2020, you got the pandemic. 2001, you have that stuff going on there, right? September 11th. Every 10 years, like 1990 invasion of Kuwait, hello, like 1979 the OPEC thing, right? OPEC, like oil prices going up through the roof. Okay, 1960 no idea, 1950 no idea, etc., etc. 1940 or 30s, like who knows, like the Great Depression and all these kinds of things, right? Anyway, I'm rambling here. It's just this is my therapy. Like, this is what it is, right? Like, I tell people that you should create content because you can create content. You should have YouTube channels or a YouTube channel. You should have Instagram or something where you are putting out content. This is what we do as humans. And it's called sales to some, and it's called marketing to others. In as much as you need to keep interacting with people. And this is what I'm reminding myself too. And this is one of the reasons I'm forcing myself to do this. I literally want to go and pray right now. I just took a shower and I need to pray one of my afternoon prayers. There's the midday prayer, then the afternoon prayer. Anyway, I'm rambling. My theory of dogs, like the dog is like, he's gone now, he's gone, he's doing his thing. The dog is like me. Like the dog, Maximiliano. Maximiliano is, yo, I might as well play some goddamn guitar while I'm at it. My wife got a new guitar, right? And it's like, goddamn thing, like, it doesn't work, right? I hate it. I just hate it. Like, I hate the fact that my dad says don't use the word hate, so I'm going to scratch that. I don't hate it, but it's very frustrating. We've had a whole thing with guitars here recently. Like, last year, my wife gave me a guitar that... She gave me a guitar, basically, that... She gave me a goddamn guitar that she'd had for 20 years. This thing doesn't work is the problem. I need to get it fixed. I've got it out now. I'm going to go on Kijiji and find someone to fix this, because the top string sounds good, right? But then... Same thing, like second one too. Like these frets, they're not, I don't know how he's going to fix it. This is the problem I'm having in my mind. Like these frets, like these are called frets. And this metal stuff here, it's been worn down over time. It's a great guitar. Right? It's a great guitar. But it's like the goddamn thing of it is that it needs to, like the frets, like this thing needs, the frets need to, I don't know how he's going to do that. Like this thing you can raise and lower, you can work around with the pegs over here, but like this thing, how are you going to raise or lower this thing? This is an Alice in Chains song, by the way, that is so beautiful. The devil put dinosaurs here. Hey, that's a nice segue back into talking about atheism. I was saying, yeah, atheists can be a believer. I've got a video on Zaidi Boy. So my original Zaidi Boy channel has thousands of views. Like it says 564 videos. I've uploaded at least 700 on there, this kind of thing. So I don't know what's happened to some of them. Like I guess they were never watched and they just went away. You create content and you talk to people and you put things out there and you message people. And in sales, you're talking to people every day. And if you talk to new people every day, new people will just connecting with someone, and you are cognizant of each other. This thing that takes place, this interaction, this conversation, this will change you. It changes you. It changes your mood. Just walking down the street and someone's walking up the other way, and like there's this thing that happens. What thing? Like most of the time you're like your eyes are down and this and that. I'll just go like this. I tell people like it's a sales thing. Like show them your teeth anyway. So I have a show them your teeth. Like fake a smile. Don't fake anything except a smile. Okay, so Imam Ali, peace be upon him, he said these beautiful things. Like he said some amazing things, of course. Like everything he said, I'm making sure it's still recording. Okay, 20 minutes. I want to sing this song. I want to, like, this is what happens when I start talking. When I start giving of myself or whatever I'm doing here, creating content, writing, same thing. It's like there's no end to it. It's like Carpe Diem, right? Versus Orange County Detective. Carpe Diem is seize the day. Seize the day is where it's at. OCD is Orange County Detective, obsessive compulsive disorder. That's called trying to seize the moment. Appreciate the moment and be aware of the moment and all these kinds of things. All this means is don't be lost in your head. The moment, like this, it's a never-ending vortex. Come to me, I'll feel the pain. Come to me, come to me, I'll feel the void. Why would I be crying? Infant, all bland now. Offering a wonderful. I can't sing, of course I can sing, but like the guitar is like throwing me off, right? Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing with this guitar. I guess I'm going to... there's nothing I can play and sing. I really want to, but there's nothing I can play and sing because I need the top few strings here. So anyway, that's what that is. The atheist thing is like this. If you go to my Zaidi Boy channel, like you'll see lots of videos, lots of views, lots of things like clicks and comments, like a lot of comment, engagement. Like I only have 80 subscribers at this point. Although I keep getting subscribers on there, and like the last time I checked it was like 30 or 50 or something like this, and I looked recently and it's 80. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I'm that marketing guy that basically figures the thing out. Like I've got the Liberal Party of Canada, and then Andrew WK, and then there's a guy called Gavin something, like he's the guitarist of Bush or something like this. I've got like celebrities at one point, like Andrew WK was following me, and like Maclean's Magazine I believe still follows me on Twitter. Like the whole point of what I'm trying to say is I've only got a few hundred followers. I had thousands at some point, but most of them were fake followers because it's like automation and you're just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, right? What you're looking for is engagement, and engagement informs who you are. Okay, you connect with other people, okay, and it's like you're walking down the road and it's like there's this thing, like even if you do not make eye contact or say hello to another person, there's a vibe that happens just by looking at that person. It's like psychic energy through the eyes. It's like you're walking down the road, you turn to look, and someone's looking at you already. Like this kind of thing, that vibe, right? And it's very powerful. It's very powerful. And in fact, it's so powerful that it's almost like this. I think most people will accept that most of us live our lives conforming to the perceived expectations of others. I don't do this. I don't, and I can't. I don't know how to do it. I've tried. I tried. Like, I've reached a point where, because of my bipolar thing and smoking weed, like for the last 10 years, I've just struggled so much. Like, I don't know what's going on. Period. Like, full stop. It's like you come up with rules and theories, right? Like Jordan Peterson's rules of life. Good man. He's back on Twitter, huh? Thank you, Mr. Musk. Thank you, Elon. Elon Musk is amazing, by the way. Elon Musk is so amazing. Like, I've been obsessing, and I'm obsessed with this guy, and I have been for years. I don't even want to get into it. Like, I've got like a blog post about Elon Musk, and I like, I'll save that for another video perhaps. Like you could devote like your life to studying this guy, and it's like he's like a demigod. Like, he's like a demigod. He literally, it would appear, literally, he believes this. He believes that Larry Page, I tweeted and asked him about it yesterday. He believes Larry Page, @Q_Larry Page, like page ranking, one of those names, like one of those people who have a name and he was born at start Google, right? Page ranking, and his name's Larry Page, right? So now he believes this guy, although they're friends, of course, right? Larry Page is a well-intentioned man. However, he's creating robots or androids using artificial intelligence is what appears to be going on. I don't know if Elon Musk is meant to be keeping this under wraps or not. He's been talking about it for years. It started with this notion of artificial intelligence, like 2050, like the reason for SpaceX and the reason for us going to Mars is ostensibly that by 2050 there will be no planet. Like EOL, end of life, right? The ELA has expired, the end user license agreement. Like in software terms, the planet EOL is going to EOL, end of life. 2050, this is what everyone says. Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are building space rockets and shooting stuff like Virgin Galactic, and then Blue Origin, which is Bezos, and then SpaceX. SpaceX, what Elon Musk did with SpaceX, it's too much when you start thinking about it. What he did with Solar City, and then with Tesla, and then with SpaceX, but prior to all of that with PayPal, which was X.com, and let's give Peter Thiel credit for starting PayPal. And I used to say that Elon Musk started PayPal as one of the co-founders. He wasn't really. Like, his company X.com merged with PayPal, this kind of thing. And then he had a falling out with the co-founder of PayPal, Peter Thiel, but they're friends now, this kind of thing. Anyway, I'm rambling a lot. Like, this guy, to say he's visionary, or he's an innovator, or he's a tech guy, or he literally is like, I'm telling you what, like, I don't want to sound like, I'm a Muslim, okay? I believe in Prophet Muhammad, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Moses. My best friend Shane Gerzon, okay, I was telling you, my other best friend Aliyah Ginsburg. I have many best friends, like 5 or 10 of them, and 2 of them are Jews, and I love that. I love the fact my real, like, wife. When I say wife, I don't mean like some lady out in the street. Like, wife of 18 years. I got a picture here. How about this? You think I'm some scumbag? I do. I am some scumbag. Look at this beautiful thing. So this was us when we first met in Vancouver, eh? Pew, 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 pew. This was 2004, right? We met in Maximiliano. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué, perrito? ¿Por qué? No está comido? I'm pretending I know Spanish, I don't. So we got these beautiful. She's gonna hate me for this if she watches. She doesn't watch my videos anyway. Look how beautiful she is. This is not wine, by the way. This is like fruit juice. Like, I'm very particular about my religion and all these kinds of things, right, guys? And it's like one of my messages, among others, if there were to be such a thing, is that Islam is not, and religion in general, is not restrictive, and it's not like people like think people think that religion is like the enemy, in terms of you want to be free, you want to live your life, and like you've already got like more problems than you can ever handle. Like if you were to sit down and write down all your problems, by the way, try this out and you'll be very surprised. For most people, it appears that you sit down and if you were to start writing out your problems, there'd be no end to it. Rather, the truth is that if you were to sit down and write down how much God has blessed you, or how many good things, that there's no end to that, right? I just read or listened to the audiobook of this. I listened this phenomenal guy. I was going to say, I suppose, Mark Reclaw, Mark with a C and Reclaw with a K, Lau, Reklau, Mark with a C, Reclaw with a K, au.com. Gratitude, like the power of gratitude, or something like this, name of the book, like the secret power, like this book, like it's amazing. Like that kind of guy, like he makes me feel ashamed. Now, Muhammad, like the word or the name, means, hamd means praise or gratitude, give thanks. I mean, technically shukr, like in Urdu, shukriya is thank you. Shukr in Arabic is thanks. Hamd is praise. Hamd and shukr are closely related, let's say. Alhamdulillah wa shukran lillah. Thank God and praise to God. And Alhamdulillah means that He gets all the glory, right? So, I mean, every good thing in your life ultimately goes back in the chain of consequences back to Him. In any case, so Prophet Muhammad, so Muhammad means one who does a lot of hamd, right? Mahmud is another word, is another name. Mahmud means one who is, Muhammad means one who praises. Mahmud means praiseworthy, this kind of thing. Ahmed means also one who is praised. Muhammad means one who praises, and Ahmed means one who is praised. And Muhammad, the Prophet, praised Allah, and Allah, the God, praised Muhammad by saying, you know, there's a prophet, Ismuhu Ahmed, like talking about the old scriptures, that Prophet Muhammad was, just like Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, was prophesied in the Torah, right? And that's the basis of Christianity. Well, Prophet Muhammad was not just Prophet Muhammad, Imam Ali and Imam Hussein, like the Imams are prophesied in the Torah. Like I read that, like now that I'm talking about this, and of course it's 33 minutes, and so I probably only have 6 people who are ever going to watch this whole thing, ever, like the whole way. Who's going to spend like 30 minutes, 40 minutes just listening to a rambling digression of irrelevant thoughts, right? So my Muslim brother on Twitter, right, @easy good deeds, this guy, he's a Sunni Muslim, and I sense from him that he, like most of us, is very self-righteous, right? And as religious people, we tend to look down on others. Like, well, we're Muslims, we have the Quran, we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal, we have Muhammad, like we're like the deal, like the real deal, right? So then we're gonna lie and steal and all these kinds of things and blow people up. This has nothing to do with Islam, by the way. I think this should be obvious by now. Like, you need to talk to Muslims if you're interested in this kind of thing, right? And you need to talk to atheists if you're interested in that kind of thing. And ultimately, what I'm trying to say is this: like, I say there's good and bad people, and I said that believers versus unbelievers. I don't mean it as in most people think. Most people think that when a Muslim says believer, he means Muslims, and when he says non-believer, he means non-Muslims. Nothing like this. Nothing approaching that. That has nothing to do with it. The label of Islam or Muslim and Christian and Jew and Buddhist and atheist and agnostic and whatever, right? Native people, they follow the spirit. You've got Shinto people, right? Like, what it boils down to is more or less there's two ways of looking at it. Hashtag binary. Does the person care about others? This is my own definition. I'll give you Muhammad's definition. Someone's banging up there, eh? I want to like grab the broom and go bang, bang, bang. But I won't do that, right? I won't do that. I don't want to do that either, by the way. I'm just saying I do because words are coming out of my face at a rapid clip. So like this thing is just this is therapy. This is me talking. Like, I've got no one to talk to, right? Like, who's going to listen to this kind of rambling nonsense? And who needs a goddamn shrink, right? So you create content and you put it out there. You don't create a rambling hour-long digression, right? This is not the thing. Like, my mode is like, I've told you, and what I was trying to say is if you go to Zaidiboy, if you Google Zaidiboy, Zaidiboy, my original YouTube channel, hundreds of videos, thousands, like I've got more, I can't even count them. I've got many videos, scores perhaps, or 20 or in something like that, in the 20s or something appear. I don't know, I haven't counted them. Many, like, and it's from time to time I'll Google myself, or I'll Google something, or I'll find myself online, and it's very nice. I'll see a video of mine or some post somewhere about someone who's like linked something, or some algorithm has like captured like one of my URLs or one of my videos or a blog post or something. Guys, put stuff out there, right? Put stuff out there. The starting point of that is make eye contact with people. The starting point of it is seek to interact with people. And you must overcome your negative and judgmental state. I'm preaching to myself as well as you. Usikum wa nafsi. I'm preaching to you as well as myself, says Imam Ali. He would say this. Usikum wa nafsi. Right? So, you're walking on the street, someone's coming up the way. There's this vibe that takes place. Okay, aka psychic energy with the eyes. Right? The Quran says things like, well, they try and, quote unquote, they try and trip you. They would like to trip you up with their eyes. Like bad people, let's say, right? Or the unbelievers or the hypocrites. Hypocrites are the Muslims, by the way. The most evil people are not anything but Muslims as far as the Quran goes. And more than half of hell is going to be filled with Muslims. I refer you to chapter 63 of the Quran, I believe, which is Al-Munafiqun, the hypocrites. Anyway, so Muslim is Islam and Muslim, that's one level. Iman and Mu'min, this is a different level. Muslim is one thing. A Muslim is not necessarily a Mu'min. This is not me. This is the Quran. The Quran says, like, they say, Al-A'rab, the Arabs. Rather, when Arab people will say, no, this means Bedouins, of course, but Al-A'rab, the desert nomads, the desert Arabs, Al-Arab, like whoever that is, those people say, Aminu, we believe. No, Muhammad, say to them, instruct them to say, Aslamu, we are Muslims, because faith has not yet penetrated into their heart. Islam is one thing, but on the other hand, Christians can be believers. Yeah, this is, oh wow, I'm getting messages here. Yay! I feel so happy. Anyway, so I'm interested in getting a gaming console. I picked this TV up for my wife. Like, we had two flat screen TVs, and in one of my manic fits, I'm not violent. Like, I'm not violent to my wife, at least, certainly. I am, like, I might as well tell you, like, when I smoke weed, I become a psycho, like, more or less. Like, I'll just fight people and shout at people, and like, listen, man, like, if you've got handcuffs and a baton, that's one thing, or a gun. Otherwise, like, if you're like a cop, or not even a security guard, but like a security guard with the city of Toronto or something like this, those are the only two groups of people I don't F with. I'll swear at them, by the way, and I'll swear at them and give them the finger. Like, when I'm manic, like, cops will be doing, like, patrolling, and I'll be shouting and swearing at them, and sometimes they'll come stop and just say, calm down, stop shouting, what's the matter? Like, and I'll be like, did you give that guy a ticket? Like, he's such a cool guy. Like, the guy in the Mustang, he's like, no, I gave him a warning, all right, whatever. And sometimes I'll be like, F the police, and, like, some of them are smiling and waving, whatever. Like, this is, like, weird stuff to talk about to the average citizen, because average person sees, like, criminals all being lumped together as people who break the law or are averse to the law. And it's like, you know what? I just had this conversation with my lawyer, and I said to her, like, she's the only one who's actually answered in the negative. I asked jail guards, aka corrections officers, aka compliance officers, because we're not correct, and so who are we to correct others? Justin Trudeau himself is not going to say it's not correct to impose yourself on others. In any case, it's not Canadian, right? In Canada, like, Canada is Canada, not cannot ada, right? And the whole ethic of Canada, like, I've started telling Canadians, I've thought about this for a good 10 years now, 5 years at least, like, among other things, like, and I've realized, as strange as it might appear, it is the case that Canadians, in fact, Canucks, what I call a Canuck is a white Canadian-born person, this kind of thing, like, not even, like, with no accent, okay? The people who say A, those people, and they're white. You'll be like, why are they white? I'll be like, I don't know. That's my definition. White nationalists, they'll say that we have to have something. We don't get nothing for ourselves. And you'll say, well, you got all the money, and you've got all the organizations, and you've got the infrastructure, and you've got the government. I don't care. Like, I want to just prop Canada by saying the Canucks, they are, like, this whole area that we're in right now would be underwater. This is, like, we live on, like, this is Sherbourne Street here. Like, my wife right now, if she saw what I was doing, like, filming her apartment, like, this is her apartment. Like, I'm just like a scumbag. Like, I got my stuff in storage, and I've been in jail, and it's like, I've got money, and it's like, I can't go get a place of my own, because it's from God. Everything's from God. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is all therapy. Like, I've got all this stuff in my head, and it's like, I just want to keep talking, and it's like, when's he going to end? And it's like, there is no end. And I do remember all the chains and threads that I have been discussing in this video, and it's like, you'll be like, why am I listening to this? If you're listening to this, I appreciate it, but I do want to say again that you need to do these kinds of things yourself. You need to find yourself. It's like the Soulfly song, lose yourself, full stop, find yourself, this kind of thing, right? So, and then creating content, okay, and then you get a response. Usually people ignore you, and then it's like a negative response, and then maybe you might start getting positive responses. That's just the way. That's the path. If that's the path, I'm grateful for the path, okay? And it's like Gary Vaynerchuk, my man, V-Friends for life. I don't even know what V-Friends are. I think they're NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Gary Vaynerchuk, on a recent video, explained how he's such a genius, among other things, on the level of writing best-selling books, New York Times bestsellers, Jab, 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 Right Hook, okay, The Thank You Economy, okay, Crushing It, and he has another book out, which I'm not even familiar with. I'm not familiar with any of these books. I've partially read The Thank You Economy, but I watch his content, and he's one of these guys like Elon Musk. Like, these guys, it's like, the only thing I can say about these guys is, I recently tweeted this thing. I replied to one of his tweets, Gary V, and told him that Muhammad, like, because he's big on gratitude and empathy. Hashtag gratitude, hashtag empathy. And he's got t-shirts powered by gratitude, this kind of thing. Gratitude is huge, guys, by the way. And there's a couple of things I'm going to show you, I suppose, like, to make this thing informative now that we're talking and rambling. So now, yeah, like, so if you were to try and write down your problems, right? Like, as you know, children, you should write every day. Okay, not like draw stupid nonsense and have books and books of it and they're littering the streets of the city. But, okay, feeling is the secret. Okay, so that's the Quran right there. Okay, and then it's like this thing right here. So there's a book. I want to say a few things about writing right now. And like, let's just lump that in with creating content. So writing is a powerful thing. Yeah, like, is there any doubt at that statement or in that statement? With that, is there a problem when, like, is there no one, like, but it's very, very powerful. Like, speaking is very powerful. People say you cannot learn when you're speaking. You only learn when you're listening. And then it's like, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so you should listen twice as much as you speak. For sure. Shiatuna Samit. Our Shias are dumb, said our 7th Imam, peace be upon him. Like, Shia Muslims, just so you know, like, so the family of Muhammad is who we follow. The daughter of Muhammad, that's the lady Fatima. The peace and blessings of God be upon her. About whom Allah apparently said to Muhammad, "O Muhammad, if it wasn't for you, I would not have created the universe. And if it wasn't for Fatima, I would not have created you." So, hashtag women, right? Women are superior in Islam. You came from a woman. One of the things I learned the hard way in Canada is that women do whatever they want, essentially. Unless they're stabbing people and, like, snorting and selling drugs or things like this, right? Anyway, the question of superiority of women or whatever this is moot. It's not something that's even discussed in polite circles, because you came from a woman. Like, so it's like you came from this thing, let's say X, right? You got to watch this movie, Stutz, by the way. My sister told me to watch this movie, and I watched it. We watched it, Judith and I. And it's an amazing movie. Like, why? Because I keep thinking about it. That's the mark of a good movie. Like, I'm big into movies, and I've been working on different scripts in my mind and on paper over the years, and I'm just dying and itching to write a Cosa Nostra script about the honored society, right? Man, it's like, I gotta say this thing. I'm listening to this audiobook by Roberto Saviano. It's called 000, and it's about cocaine. Like, 000 is like the finest and highest quality of cocaine and talcum powder, as it were, and things like this, right? So 000, it's like, the book is about these guys that you see in Narco. Less Pablo Escobar. I'm so happy and grateful, because he was a different kind of guy. To Chapo Guzman, okay, narco terrorists, these guys, psychotic, like, just like ISIS, more or less. Like, yo soy pakistaño, pero mi esposa es colombiana. Mi cuerpo es pakistaño, pero mi corazón es colombiana. Mi corazón, my heart is Colombian, porque mi esposa es colombiana. Happy wife, happy life, guys. I'm going to tell you, if you're listening to this, happy wife, happy life, guys. And if your lady doesn't look at you the same way that she used to, like with love and admiration, this is on you. This is on you. And furthermore, guys, the girl, your girl, the girl, your girl, like this girl, like the girl, your girl, like the one for you, the one. She's not the most beautiful or the hottest or the best in bed or whatever you think's going on, or the one who gets along with your friend Ned. Anyway, most socially adept, whatever. Like she's the coolest or like like all this stuff is garbage. It's nonsense, right? Based on my experience with my own wife, I can say for sure, and it is the case, and nobody disagrees with this. People who I throw this out to, women and men, and this is for the young people, like guys, the girl who puts up with all your crap, she's the one. She's your one. All your lying and your drugs or drinking and your like smashing stuff and stealing, like you're a monster. A guy is just a savage, and a woman, like look how beautiful this place is, and it's like my wife doesn't have time for any of this stuff. I don't know how she's a miracle worker. Like she does amazing and beautiful things, and that's what the Quran says too. That zina, women are an adornment, and they, in turn, my own kind of thought about this thing is women are like an adornment, and they also are, they beautify things. It's not to say women shouldn't work or should work or this or that. Like, listen, in general, okay, there are of course exceptional people like Melissa Meyer and Safra Katz at Oracle, where I used to work, right? Oracle Corporation, Larry Ellison, I'm listening to, I'm gesturing this way like there's anything there, but like I had my Bluetooth speaker there. This thing is so awesome, by the way. I had my Beats Bluetooth speaker up there, and that's why I was gesturing in that direction. But I was listening to I am listening to an audiobook about writing. I'll get back to it. I know I'm rambling. This thing, an hour, can you believe it? And this hour is just past. It's like this hour's just flown by. This is all therapy for me. It's like I need to finish off what I was thinking about and talking about. And actually, in the back of my mind, there's this thought that's kind of nagging, which is that I had a Samsung S20 at one point in the last 6 months. The last 6 months have been like hellish. Like I've gone to jail more times than I can count, practically, like at least half a dozen times. And I've been beaten up, like beaten up in my world is like punched out, more or less. Like someone will smack you and you fall on the ground. This has happened like 3 times at least, 3 different people, just out of like not out of nowhere, but usually with what's happened in the past, it's like I'm manic and I'm shit talking people, and it's like big people too, right? And it's like I can get a sense of, I get a read for the person, like, and it's never happened, but just in the last 6 months I've gotten knocked out like at least 3 times, and I've had like, well, I've gotten knocked out 3 times, and another couple of times I've been punched, like literally, like this is what's happened. And then I mean, like I'm ashamed to admit I got beat up by a employee of a grocery store around the corner, like a Circle K. Like, I mean, it bothers me, and it's like part of me, I want to destroy this guy. I just like, I revisit this thing. It's like I hadn't been sleeping, and I'd been sleeping outside, and I hadn't been eating, and I was baked, and a couple of months ago now, and it's like, this is one of my charges. I got beaten up by this guy. I went into the store. I took this Bluetooth thing, in fact, this speaker, and it's like I wanted a cord for it to charge it. And there's a line of people, and I went round, and I was trying to ask at the counter, do you guys have cords for this to charge it? Then I came around the other side, and I asked the guy, and he just came up to me, and he's like this, like, get out of here. And it's like, what? And because I'm manic and I do these kinds of things, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to incriminate myself and whatnot, but like he had like a receipt machine, or like this little thing that spits out receipts on the counter, and he was like this to me. I was like, F you, and I knocked this thing off his counter just to let him know. And then I'll walk out of a place saying, I'm your customer, just don't forget that. right? And that's how I am when I'm manic. I get really pissed off, and it's like, I will, like, I'm sorry to say, I shouldn't, right? One of the differences, I punch people. I'll just punch someone, a guy, not a girl, um, for a reason, by the way, not just random. Uh, and usually, like, pertaining to the person disrespecting or shit talking me, like, I'll punch the guy. Like, we're on the street. If you're on the street, it's like you don't have anything, and you got your respect, and it's like you got your stuff. And if anyone comes between you and your respect, they get smashed. If anyone comes in between you and your people, they get smashed. Like, you got a friend, and like there's a lady, and you're talking to her, and some guy comes along, like, and whatever, like, and he disrespects her. This could be a problem. Anyway, like, these are long discussions that I want to write and talk about over time. It's like, for example, you look at street people, and it's like you look at criminals as an average person, and you're like, these people, right? They ignore the law, and they're los criminalos. See? But I don't know. I asked my lawyer, have you ever slapped someone? Have you ever thrown something at someone? Did you ever hit someone? And she said, no, I haven't actually. And I was amazed. And I wasn't surprised, I suppose, because she is an amazing person. Then I said, Alina, please, you can't tell me that you have not committed an indictable offense. Okay? Indictable offense means that something you would have gone to jail for. If you steal a pen or something from work, this kind of thing could be an indictable offense. I don't know the details. I think it would be like any kind of property. It's not attached to value. It's like the same in Islam. If you're punished under Sharia law for stealing, in Sunni Islam they chop off your hand. In Shia Islam they chop off your four fingers. Because if you chop off a guy's hand, like, how's the guy gonna pray? Is the explanation I was given. Moreover, like we say to Sunni Muslims, like I said to this guy on Twitter, and he's still in my mind, by the way, at sign easy good deeds. I said that you guys, I quoted Imam Ali, peace be upon him. I said, you took the fruit and you forsook the tree. The tree is the family of Prophet Muhammad. The tree is Fatima and Ali and their children, Hassan and Hussein. And Imam Ali was the designate successor of Prophet Muhammad, just like Aaron was the designate successor and brother of Moses. Prophet Muhammad said that my example, the example of Ali and me, Ali's example vis-a-vis myself is the example of Aaron to Moses. Aaron and Moses were brothers. Imam Ali and Prophet Muhammad were cousins. Ya ibn ammi, like son of my brother. Wa ya akhi, my brother. They were more or less brothers, right, in that sense. And then Imam Ali was his designate. Like, the whole thing is like this with Shias. The thing that separates us from everyone else, right? As that were. Many things, but this thing, let's say. I asked my wife about this thing, for example. Digression upon digression, I know. I want to tell you, write things down. Write things down. Like, there's a book. If you go to YouTube, you can find this book. It's called It Works. It Works, with an exclamation mark, by a guy called Radio Hotel Jockey or Judo Java. RHJ, anonymous guy, like, they know who his name is. Like, I listen to, like, if you listen to an intro of one of these books, you'll learn his name. It's a 20-minute long book. It's very easy. It's very simple. And I'll tell you what the whole book says this. Write down what you want, okay? And then read it every morning, every afternoon, and every evening. Okay, Mark Reclaw, in his book about gratitude, he talks about writing down things that you're grateful for. And I started, like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, my health, my intelligence, my so-called eloquence, these kinds of things. Right, so, and then I wanted to say again, like, I'm just trying to, like, what I'm doing here, in case you haven't realized, is, like, I'm spurting out thoughts, and then I'm realizing that I've got all this stuff left unsaid, and then I'm trying to gather these things back up. And I had this S20. I made this amazing video just before getting arrested one time, and I lost my phone that day, of course, because you're manic. It's like OCD, zoning into the moment. When you're manic, I literally will put my phone down and turn around and start talking to someone, and I have no conception of my phone or time or space or place or things like this. And that's your zone. On an interesting side note, right? Just because this video is just that video, like the catch-all, like my mental regurgitation of months of anguish, I suppose. I haven't made a video for months, right? And on that S20 that I referred to, I lost it, but I'd made a 2 hour long video downtown. I was at Young and Dundas, and there were kids that showed up with a camera and they were filming, and I was filming, and then some other kids came out of the subway and they're shouting, and it's like craziness because there were people there everywhere. Like Young and Dundas, Young Street and Dundas Street, and then Young and Dundas Square. That's like the epicenter, more or less, of downtown, or Times Square, as it were. Like in New York City, you've got Times Square, and you've got the ball that drops like 42nd Avenue and whatever the hell it is, right? I've been there. Like I went to university in the States, right? Connecticut State is where I went to university. So now Young and Dundas, and I walk around downtown for 2 hours out of my mind, just like filming people and interacting with them. And then I lose the phone. I've got like many videos. I've got whole books that I'm trying to get my Google, two of my Google accounts I'm locked out of. And I've got whole books that I've written that are out there and lost. So from that vantage point, I'm the guy who says put content out there. Keep putting content out there. You have to express yourself. Do not repress yourself. Okay? And this for me is therapy, putting all these thoughts out there. And it's like just gathering my thoughts in my mind. Write stuff down every day. I used to say the following. I used to say, sit down with a pen and paper 15 minutes a day and write down whatever's on your mind. Note to your boss, note to your friend, note to God, note to the raven on the windowsill, note to your deceased relative or friend, anything like laundry list, grocery list, to-do list, goals, dreams, thoughts, anything. Like you write it down. You don't feel like writing, then Kurt Vonnegut says doodle. But if you take a piece of paper and a pen and sit down every day, you will fire your cerebral cortex, or whatever the hell these things are, the mediglia, or I'm mediglia, like these things in your brain, like the left brain versus right brain. One of them is creative, one of them is like more like programmed and structured or whatever. And it's like everyone wants to be creative, right? So I'm telling you, this is what you do. You do things like that. You sit down and you give it an opportunity, right? You're not at peace, then like, these are all different canned speeches of mine, and I'm rehearsing them because I want to write about them, and I want to write books about them, and I've been talking about them for years. And they say that you don't learn when you speak, but you do learn when you speak, because you learn when you think. You learn when you put two and two together in your brain. Writing things down allows you to take your deepest thoughts and communicate them in words, just like speaking does. When you take your deepest thoughts and turn them into words, this thing takes a lot of energy, by the way. My dad, God bless him and extend his life and give him peace and prosperity, which has been the case forever. Like, my dad's just one of these guys. He's constantly grateful to God, and he says, I'm, if not the luckiest, one of the luckiest people on the planet. This kind of guy. So he was a professor. Like, he did his PhD in atomic physics from the University of Stirling in Scotland, like 40 plus years ago, is where I got my accent from, like, which has petered off over the years, just in case you're wondering about that, right? And accents are highly overrated, right? It's like mi esposa es colombiana, como tú sabes. Like, as you know, my wife is Colombiana, and when she speaks, it's so cute and so compelling, and people are like so drawn to her little idiosyncratic kind of spiels. she'll say something smells fishing. Or she'll say the word learn. She uses it a lot because she's a learner too, and she's amazing. She's like a composite of my mom and my dad, right? So I don't know how to tell you or explain that to you. Like, how is it that she's a composite of my mom? My mom was the most giving and smiling and cheerful and beautiful person that way, and she would do amazing things around the house. And my mom and my wife, like this whole thing, like there's bread over here. I could show you it. I know it's here. Like, she told me she's making it, and so it's, you can consider it made. Max, are you gonna eat your damn food? Are you gonna do that? The theory of dogs is essentially that this dog, Maximiliano, is very much like me. The last dog, Cathy, she was a Shih Tzu. She was like my wife, right? So here's the bread maker, and here's the bread. Oh, here it is. Told you. This thing, that thing. I don't know if that's the bread maker I got her. I got her a bread maker a few years ago. This thing is awesome, by the way, guys. Like this thing, like loaf of bread, 80. And this right here, like this is like a symbol of like the age we live in. Like just holding up a piece of bread like this. If you read like the Old Testament or actually revisit past history, as it were, and how people used to live, like we basically live like gods with regards to how people used to live in the past. And I don't think anyone will discount this. If you told people in the past that we're going to be flying across the sky and talking to 20 people at once all over the world, and like shooting across like the freaking land at like 200 kilometers an hour, like they just pulled some guy over who was like doing this here locally in Toronto, and that was a big deal. Toronto's the bomb. Canada's the bomb. I was saying this whole place, like from Bloor Street, which is a major intersection. I think I mentioned Bloor Street, going all the way down to Lake Ontario, which is the whole of the downtown core, was all underwater 200 years ago. And these beaver hunters, Canadians, beaver lovers, these beaver loving Canucks, they were like, what the Canuck? They're like, something's got to give here. They reclaimed the whole thing. Like, reclaim means it was underwater and they brought earth. I don't know why they did this. There must have been a reason, I'm supposing. They brought earth in from wherever they did this, and then yeah, like, so this area was underwater. Like, so what they're doing in China and Hong Kong and Dubai, like, all props to those guys. Like, Canuck people did something on a way vaster scale. Like, this area that I'm talking about that was underwater, this is like a huge area. Like, and I don't think they've done anything like this in China, even to this day, or Dubai. Like, they reclaim land and it's a cool thing. Anyway, Canucks are the enlightened race. The definition of enlightened from this perspective being people who put others above themselves, just like Jesus. Okay, Jesus put others above himself, right? And then Canucks put others above themselves, more or less. Other species, other people, other races, everything. Like, that's it. You'll be like, how, why, like, wherefore? Like, the only proof I'll give you, or the only thing I'll say, is that, like, it's like, for example, if you go to Vancouver and you go to the downtown east side, which is the epicenter of the drug crisis here in North America, I dare say. I lived in Vancouver, like that's where me and Judith met and married. Well, we met in Calgary and then we married in Vancouver. This was 2003, 2004. I was there since 2002. Like, so 2.5 years I lived in Vancouver 20 years ago. And there's Main Street and then Hastings Avenue, or Hastings Street, downtown Vancouver. Main and Hastings, aka Pain and Wastings, this kind of thing. You know, people doing drugs out in the open with syringes and crack pipes and all kinds of like drug paraphernalia, right? And like tinfoil and like just people like just grimy and dirty, and they're doing drugs, right? And it's like, it used to just be a few blocks, and now it goes on for miles and miles, and they're in the alleyways. And anyway, prior to the pandemic, like when I was there in 2020 visiting a client of mine at the time, uh, it was just like a nightmare. Like miles and miles and miles and miles of just people like just doing hardcore drugs. Why? Because the Canadian ethic, Canuck ethic. If you want to do drugs, then you know what? Now you're that addiction. Like of course, as per Alcoholics Anonymous and as per Narcotics Anonymous, two organizations and institutions that I respect highly, and you must too because of what they've done and their track record. And you go to these groups and you meet the people and you drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, alcohol-free Kool-Aid. They call addiction a disease. Now, whether or not, like, the whole thing is, again, like this book called It Works, right? There's a guy, he wrote this book, and he wrote it 100 years ago, and he said that this was part of the New Thought movement. You have people like Neville Goddard and Florence Scovel Shinn, and you had this guy called R.H.J. And this was just prior to Napoleon Hill, and then, of course, Think and Grow Rich. And then later on in the 60s, you have Maxwell Maltz, the doctor, the plastic surgeon who came up with the concept of self-esteem. And then you've got Joseph Murray, The Power of the Subconscious, Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Thinking Big, right? Dale Carnegie was like about the same time period as Napoleon Hill. Like, so this whole self-help kind of thing that, of course, bifurcated into, like, you've got the Dale Carnegie kind of self-help, which is different than Neville Goddard, let's say, which is called New Thought, that went off into the law of attraction. Dale Carnegie and Napoleon Hill is somewhere in between, by the way. Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich has a line or a statements at the beginning similar to what Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now, his book, one of his books, his breakthrough book or whatever, his first book. Yo, I still listen to Eckhart Tolle to this day. I highly respect the guy. Like, if I mention people, generally it's because I highly respect them. And by the way, if I don't respect someone and they're a public figure, I'll definitely make that clear, right? So someone like Donald Trump, I highly respect this guy, right? I highly respect this guy, and I don't know if I like him. Like, that's irrelevant, right? And so yes, again, this whole thing is like, it works, right? So you call an addict you call him names, and you judge him, and you ostracize him, and you judge him, and you step on him, and you crush him, right? And you jail him, and he shouldn't exist. And if you're like a Nazi, you kill the guy, right? I had a cousin in Pakistan, and he'd go around. He was famous for this, more or less, well known for, like, he'd beat up like drug users, and this is common in India and Pakistan. In India, my friend was telling me that if you smoke weed in public, you'll get smashed up. Like, people will beat you up with sticks, this kind of thing. Not just in villages, like in the city. Like, if you smoke weed, just weed, let alone other drugs. Like, if you do drugs in public, they got this thing. Like, they got this thing at police stations. It rotates, and it's got a strap of leather, and it will smack your ass or smack you. Like, they'll beat you with this thing like 50 or 25 or 100 times a minute, something like this. Not 25, but like 100 times a minute, like bam, 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 bam. And like, you'll have welts and bruises for like days and weeks and months. And then you will think twice about doing this thing. So now, the guy who wrote this book, It Works, he sent the manuscript to some famous like director of some business or some corporate magnate or somebody he knew who was like a CEO or something like that. And that guy wrote back to him. He just wrote back saying, it works, right? So you write down stuff every day. If you don't want to write, then you can doodle and things like this. You have to give your creative impulses a chance to fire, okay? You do that for 15 minutes. If you do this every day, it will change your life. Okay? If you do this every day. Now, I'm going to say this to you. If you write down positive and affirmative statements like, this is what I just wrote this like the other day, right? Like, now do you write like the same things every day, or like just write every day? Okay, there's 5 things that I learned in jail that I preach now religiously. Write every day, read every day, exercise every day, pray/meditate every day. Every day, every effing day. Okay? And then there's this, like, so here we go. I'm just gonna read. I'm reading it. I'm doing my usikum wa nafsi, right? I write every day. I work every day. I exercise every day. So I write the thing in the present tense. And then it's like you got visualization plus the power of writing plus the law of attraction plus everything rolled into one. And I'm telling you what, it works. I'm telling you what, I'm bipolar in the sense that like big pharma drugs have ruined my life and mind as well. And I was given Lithium, the song by Kurt Cobain, right, as a pill, in pill form. Lithium bicarbonate, what they give to bipolar people. If you think, like if I sent this video to you via email, it's like I created this video and it's got a lot of thoughts in there. And so I want to share these thoughts, and so I'm probably going to send this off to like 100 people, 200 people. Whatever, like, because that's what I do. Why would I do? Do I expect people to listen to this? I don't care. Like, somebody may, and some people do. And it's like, I've gotten clients like this. I've made best friends like this. I've had to change lives like this. That's the hope. If there were to be a point like that, in sense of if that's what you're looking for, yes, that kind of stuff happens. It's like they say, like, yo, you'll go, if you do, I do. Like, if someone comes through town and they're like, oh, free seminar, like millionaire mindset, like this guy Harv Eckert or whatever his name is. I went to his goddamn gig in Vancouver. Like, if I have an opportunity to go to a Buddhist meeting, I'll go there, right? Or anything where somebody's saying, well, yo, like, how do you make money online? This is the best, for example, like the YouTube ads. Like making money online, like this is a set of lectures I have that I need to like write books about or something. If you live in this day and age and you're not trying to make money, you'll be like, do you make money online? Yeah, if I had it together, I've made like for 5 figures at least online, if not 6. Like not 6, like not 6, but I've made like just with one, like I had, like, it's not been up for years, but one of my most successful online projects was sales and marketing for you.com, separated by hyphens. Okay, sales and marketing for you being the word you being the most important word in sales and marketing and life. The word you, sales and marketing for you. Meaning, instead of saying my product, my service, my, me, our company's the best, our product is the best. No, it's like Microsoft is like, their approach in advertising is like, what do you want to do today? And it's all about you. So that word you, so sales and marketing for you separated by hyphens, seems like a long, unwieldy domain name, but it's correct from the perspective of search engine optimization, SEO. Okay, so I'd get like literally tens of thousands of hits on this thing a month, and I was making hundreds of dollars a month on this thing. And over the course of years, it's like $5 figures right there just with that. I've had clients that have paid me thousands of dollars, this kind of thing, right? And it's like, that's called making money online, cause it's like, that's what, like, so, okay, so I'll give you, I'll dumb it down for you. This is one of the things I'm working at. Like, why am I rambling? It's like, these are things I'm trying to codify. This is what I do. It's like, you've got 2s, you've got 5s. You've got 15 minutes. 15 minutes I want to mention real quick. Write stuff down, or it's you and a piece of paper for 15 minutes, okay? You're going to end up writing all kinds of stupid nonsense that doesn't... I got notebooks filled with this kind of stuff that are just flying around downtown, okay? It's like, and... Yo, you don't have to be the guy, by the way, just to make it real to you. You don't have to be the guy, by the way, who... Uh-oh. They're not here. Yo, they are. yo, you don't have to be the guy, by the way, like me, like the so-called artiste or whatever. It's like I got all kinds of coloring pens and pencils and things like that because I like this kind of stuff. And here's another book, and it's filled with like notes and things, right? It's like this kind of thing. Like it's like it goes on forever. Like this thing doesn't stop. Like this, okay, I told you I was gonna write a script. Cingigante, Mafia, La Cosa Nostra. And then I mentioned that I was reading this book by, or listening to an audiobook by Roberto Saviano. Oh my lord. I want to relate a passage from this book, Roberto Saviano. I want to write a script called The Odd Father about this guy. I want someone else to write a script called Scarfo about little Nicky Scarfo, Nicodemus Scarfo. The guy's name is Scarfo. He was like Pennsylvania or Philly mob. Philly's Pennsylvania. Okay, so it wasn't Jersey, it was Philly. I'm dead sure it was Philly. Nicodemus Scarfo. Okay, he shows up in Miami and he buys a $400,000 house 40 years ago in the 80s, and it's a big deal, and Meyer Lansky's there, and that's a big deal. Cingigante, back in the 80s, he was the head of the Genovese. Okay, and the Genovese are like the Fortune 500 of Las Cinco Familias. Okay, Gambinos, Genovese, Lucchese, Bonanos, Colombos, right? Bonano slash Massimo, Colombo slash Profaci, right? This kind of guy, right? So Carlo Gambino, okay, he designates Paul Castellano as his successor. Paul Castellano gets whacked by John Gotti. That's the Gambinos. They were the biggest family, the flashiest, I suppose, because of like the so-called Teflon Don or whatever they used to call him. Like Don Gotti was a man of honor. Okay, just so this is clear. Like now that I'm talking about this thing, Michael Francesi, I don't know. Frances, if you're interested in these things, he's got a YouTube channel. He gets millions and billions of hits or whatever. Okay. And then you've got John Alite, who I really respect. Out of these three, there's three guys who are on, like these guys, that Cosa Nostra. Right? I'm a YouTuber and I've also studied the life. Okay, and I'm a street guy. Right? So that's why I'm talking about this thing. When I get baked, I start sounding like a wise guy. I'm telling you what. And people have asked me, are you Italian? And I'm like, yo soy Pakistaño. Mi cuerpo es Pakistaño, my body is Pakistani, right? And my heart is Colombiana. My wife, by the way, she talks with a very interesting accent, and she's also built and run successful businesses here in Canada. Like what kind of businesses? Like cleaning company, and she's hired cleaners and she cleans houses or whatever. Like they clean houses, and she's making like lots of money. Yo, she had like a beauty salon with someone in Edmonton, her partner and her, and she's making like 10 grand a month, like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. She came to Canada maybe like 20 plus years ago. 90s, right? 90s is 30 years now, right? 90s, 80s, yeah. I keep reminding myself, like you get to a point in life where you start seeing things in 10 years at a time. Anyway, so this script, Cingigante, I want to write, okay, the life, and then there's another script that needs to be written as well, Mooney. I may tackle this one myself. Mooney is the real guy. Like, who's Mooney? Sam Giancana. And then there's a book by Sam and Chuck Giancana called Double Crossed. That guy. That to say that Sam Giancana, aka the outfit, Chicago, mafiosi. Okay, you have Alfonso Capone. He's from Naples, by the way, but he was considered more or less like part of this whole five family thing, right? Because I mean, he's the guy, like Alfonso Capone, right? They sent him up there. There was nothing up there, and it's like Stalin, like, needed to enslave millions of people in order to go liberate or structuralize, or what is it, commercialize like the hinterland, Siberia, and like all the Nordic wastes up there in like the Ural Mountains and beyond. like, so they have millions of people that they enslave and they send out there to dig for oil, and they did it, right? And they turned Russia into a superpower this way. With the wise guys, they just had Al Capone. They didn't know what to do with this guy. Like, these are just like, this is me just making this up. So Bonanno, and you've got Vito Genovese, and you've got Joe Bonanno, and you've got Carlo Gambino, you've got Lucky Luciano, you've got Meyer Lansky, like back in those days, like these guys, like the mainstays, as it were. And then Joe Colombo, up and coming kind of guy. So now, this guy, Capone, what are we going to do with this guy? Because he's from Naples. He's not a Siciliano, right? This Sicilian thing of yours, Michael, right? And then he slaps her, right? Because she killed his baby. Because she'd have known better. Like, they're Sicilians, right? I dated an Italiana called Daniela Cera. She told me that, this is what she said to me: we bite and punch each other, this kind of thing, or we kick and hit each other, like Sicilians, like not Sicilians, Italians. So people ask me if I'm Italian. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit. Write stuff down, okay? Write anything, like you write appointments down, like write stuff down, like, oh yeah, here's the chin, here's the tagline for the script I'm writing, the movie. Let them earn your respect. You shall demand theirs. Right? So this is very cool stuff. Anyway, so 15 minutes. I wanted to mention in terms of writing, and then I was going to talk about, like, among other things. Yeah, and so I've got, like, what I opened this for was not to show you that pad, but I've got, like, bail papers and jail papers here in a waterproof bag. If I'm ever out and about, I literally have to have these on me, like, because I'm that guy sometimes. Like, right now, it's like I'm on probation, and it's like, whatever. Like, I mean, I've been in a situation where it's just, I wish I had these things on me just to explain to people that I'm all over it. Like, these are like water soaked and living under bridges, like bail papers and jail papers. Like, these are like release papers from jail. Like this thing right here, falling apart. It was like the only ID I had, like, for some time. Right? And it's like, what is this thing? It's like falling apart. I don't know. I still got it, so it's here. It's like your wife, right? My wife. She's still here after 20 years. 20 years of craziness, and I've never been violent to her, but like I was talking about the TV, right? And it's like, I threw something at it. Like, it's stupid. I didn't mean to. I'm not a violent guy. I just want to be clear. Like, in 20 years, okay, one time I grabbed her wrist in the heat of the moment, like, and I was like, oh shit. Like, she may have prodded me with something once. That's it. And then we don't even talk to each other when we're angry, let alone shout at each other. Okay? Anyway, so this is like what release papers look like from jail. Okay? This is this one set, random. Like, this is all nonsense. I may be going back there, and it's a blessing in disguise like everything else. It's like, if it weren't for the fact that I may be going back to jail, I wouldn't even be here. And I'm having the best time of my life with my wife. Like, this whole thing of like falling in love and all this stuff, it's all nonsense. And here's another thing. Like, I'm telling you what, write it down. Like, now if you don't think I'm serious, like, yes, I'm serious. Like, write stuff down, right? This is a diary, and then it's like, because listen, you put work into the thing. Okay, I want to fix my life like everyone else, right? Okay, let's just start with that. So now I know that there is something to, like, positive thinking and love. What I wanted to show you in this bag was actually all this stuff. Yeah, like the color and the art and stuff like this. Like, because I know what I am. I'm a creative guy. I love this kind of stuff. I'm an artist or whatever. Like, one slight dash of color can make such a big difference. You're on the train station and there's like an ad with some guy's eyeballs, and then you go color them in red. Or his teeth, or you put a black tooth or a swastika or some kind of like Hindu third eye on like some person. It's very cool. Like, a little touch goes a long way, right? So anyway, this is a diary, okay? This is like a journal, right? This is just like a book that's been written to death and it's in tatters, right? What I'm trying to say is that once I decided or realized the power of writing, right? Once I realized this thing, okay, so I used to say to people, write down like 15 minutes a day, you and a piece of paper and a pad. 15 minutes. I want to mention 15 minutes to you. I really do. Like, I'm at an hour and 30 right now. And it's like, the neighbors are like, who is this guy talking to? But thankfully, this is one of these old school buildings, and it's like not one of these new fancy condos. It's like, I tell my wife, let's go check the thingy out there. It's like even more than before. Like, my beautiful friend Oleg Cherniak, Russian friend, he said that the weather, yo, I tell my wife, like, the view that you have and the space that you have in here, not to mention that the fact that it's soundproofed, like, apart from that guy banging upstairs, like, I can literally, like, blast, like, this TV, like, pretty loud before it starts bothering people, like, that kind of thing. So I was going to mention the TV, like, in the sense that I got this TV, and then I'm looking for a video game console. I don't know why I wanted to mention that, but I did. I bought my wife, or I got her rather. Someone gave it to me. This kind of thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you start interacting with people, things happen. That's the only way of putting it. Things happen. Like, if your life is, like, right now you're at a stalemate, and, like, it's like, I don't know what's going on, and, like, why am I here, and this kind of stuff. Write, okay? Number one, write. Number two, create content. Number three, interact. These are three things that you can think about. These things will change your life. By the way, I've got a long-standing canned speech like this. 3 words. 3 words. Any which of which can change your life. Any which of will. Each of these 3 words. Any of these 3 words has the power to change your life. There's 3 words. Read, move, and talk. That's it. Okay, so if your life's in a funk, and if you don't like the thought of writing, okay, you don't like the thought of creating content, and you are not into engaging people, you look people in the eye and you go like this. You show them your teeth. This is what I say, right? And then I tell people that in sales we say, show them your teeth. We do. They say you're selling smiles in sales. Like, I had a sales trainer, John Costigan, and this guy came to Oracle to train us. And I was in touch with him afterwards, and like this and that, and I mentioned him on one of my YouTube videos and this and that, like, and he'd hired the president of Slazenger to be one of his sales guys or some kind of guy like that, and he was making $1 million a year at the time when this was 10 years ago when he was at Oracle, right? And so that kind of guy is the kind of guy I would want to be, and so I got to know the guy, right? It's like I reached out to the guy. Right? And that kind of thing. So that's very pinpointed. That's sales, by the way. Sales is single. Sales is one-to-one. Like, I see John, I'm like, this is a cool guy. It's like, yo, like, I want to know how to make $1 million, and I'm a sales guy, and you're here, like, just doing your thing, like you're a consultant and a coach, and he's giving out all this cool swag. Like, he's got a mirror, he's got CDs and like his talks and all kinds of stuff, and he gives us this, like, all kinds of cool stuff, like a wristband or like pens and things, but then he, like, pouches or whatever, and then he gives you this, like, mirror, and then it's got his logo on it, and then it says, this is what he believes. I don't believe this, by the way. And by the way, as you become more of an expert in things, you'll realize there's no one way of doing anything. There's at least 2 ways. And usually it boils down to 2 ways. #binary. Okay? The mirror says, he says, put this mirror when you're making calls, like, put this mirror, like, on there, and look at the mirror as you're making calls. This is a very good idea. Like, I never did it. Like, I'm not into mirrors. Like, I'm the guy who will tell you that the best meditation in the world, if you're not into meditation, or if you're into meditation, best meditation is you look at yourself in a mirror. You go to a mirror. Where's there a mirror? There's a mirror right here, right? Where's the dog? See, the dog's like me. Yeah, theory of dogs. By the way, I picked this thing up. Like, the bathroom light is still on, and in the back of my mind, I'm bothered by this. But I didn't want to go there and expose more of my wife's personal life to you guys, vis-a-vis her apartment, which she has specifically told me not to show on these videos. So now I thought, like, she just gave me a haircut. She's a hairdresser, right? And she shaved me, right, like yesterday. And she just wanted to test out her razor. Like, she had a new like like the straight edge thing. And she's like, yo, I need to, like, whatever, like, practice. So to me it was torture, and I'm like, oh my lord, people pay you for this? People pay you for this? It's like me, like with a Schick, I use Schick Extreme razors. I don't use Gillette. I can get Gillette's very cheap. Like one of my clients said to me that speaking of which, I got to call, like, somebody here. Like, I'm really taking too much time here. I got to call one of my clients, and in fact, I have one client that I work with at a time. I might as well tell you if you're interested. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this and then go and tell George Salazar, westsidegeorge.com. Like, I have this thing, and I say that in sales, like, I learned this in sales. So I say to people, in sales you make it real. Like, I'll say to people, in sales you say, show them your teeth, right? Like this thing that John Costigan on his mirror, it says, they hear what you see. He used to say, now I get it, actually. Now I get it, because I didn't agree with that at the time, because I thought he was just talking about a smile, and I thought he meant that you should be smiling as you dial. Smile and dial is what some people say. I don't believe in that, by the way. I believe in be yourself and have a real conversation, and that's it. That's it. Be yourself, have a real conversation. Is your goal is have a real conversation, but before that, there's something that comes in between that. You're here, conversation's there, and then the customer, the guy you're talking to, is in the middle. That guy, you must respect this guy. Not like I've written in this book here. I wrote like the other book, like the Genovese thing. Chingiganti, by the way, the Oddfather. For 30 years, state, local, and federal level, they thought he was crazy. They thought, I just listened to a recent video by I call him Francesi, but he calls himself Francis, right? Michael Francis. I'm sorry, I gotta say this. I gotta say this. John Alite, okay, whatever the guy's name is, I respect highly now at this point. Okay, these guys, these wise guys on YouTube, there's 3 of them. Okay, there's John Alite, who's an A-lister. There's Michael Francis. He looks good and he smells good, as far as that goes. But unfortunately, John Alite, let it be known that it's just coincidences. I'm telling you what, I didn't even know that there was somebody called Sonny Francis. Sonny Francis was the guy who John Gotti, like, basically bowed down to. Whenever Sonny Francis, like, the FBI would say to the Gotti, like, Sonny Francis, and the FBI says like this, like, the FBI guy says, like, every time you mention Sonny Francis, John Gotti would be like, oh, Sonny, tough guy. Like, he really respects this guy. Sonny Francis was released from prison 2017 at age 100. Age 100. He was a wise guy in the life. And CBS got him, and they did a documentary, and it's on YouTube, and it's amazing. And the guy's like, he's like, I'm such a nice guy. He's like this. He's just like this happy old man. He's this happy old man. And it's like, I need to talk about Roberto Saviano again, and I need to talk about the atheists, and I need to wrap this goddamn thing up. And it's like coming up on 2 hours here, and I've had enough of this thing, and I'm starting to sound Italian here. And it's like, it's a mind trip. This whole thing is a mind trip. It's like Elon Musk's something else, right? And he tweets like yesterday or this morning about, like, reality, and then someone else tweets about, like, your mind. Like, your mind is everything, right, guys? Your mind, like, anyway. So write things down. I wanted to learn how to write things down, right? I wanted to teach myself how to write things down. As a would-be filmmaker, like the lighting here is bothering me now, so I'm just gonna go turn on the lamp, and I'll let you stare at this, whatever the hell that is, briefly. I'm gonna put up the lighting. I'm not trying to hide nothing here. I'm just trying to like keep it entertaining. Like I consider myself a purist. It's like I don't get hits on these videos. It's like I have problems uploading some of these videos because of like copyright infringements, or somebody will like contact YouTube and say this fucking guy's talking about me, or yeah, like TD did that. They got one of my movies taken off, and then TD Bank, yeah, and then Daniela Cera, Italiana, she got one of my movies removed, and then YouTube and Google, they're so amazing. Oh yeah, Larry Page, YouTube and Google, like okay, like they know what they know what your video is about without you telling them, right? Because they can analyze your voice patterns. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. Technology is so amazing. So Larry Page is building robots. Okay, Larry Page, co-founder of Google with Sergey Brin. Larry Page. Now Elon Musk has raced a McLaren. He bought a $1 million. This is a $1 million car. There were 62 of them in the world at the time. Larry Ellison of Oracle owned one of these, and so did Elon Musk. And Elon Musk shoots him a note, just like he tweeted out like last year or something, that like he's a box. Like Elon Musk is something else. Like it's just like Justin Trudeau. It's like Justin Trudeau will smash the F out of your face. Like he's a boxer. He'll punch your lights out. Then he'll school you. He's a professor. Anyway, Elon Musk is a boxer, among other things. Okay? And he challenged Vladimir Putin to a boxing tournament. Okay? So now, he goes racing with Larry Ellison in a McLaren F1. Apparently, I don't know the outcome. I don't even know if this actually took place, but I know that he reached out to Larry, and like there was another tech billionaire that got wind of this, and he's like, yo, I need to rush to my local Ferrari dealership and grab one of these fucking cars and race with these guys. Yo, Larry Ellison, like the kind of guy, for example, who I was at Oracle like during this time frame. He built a $1 billion yacht with BMW using NASA space technology, like the same kind of stuff that Elon Musk went and used to build both SpaceX rockets and Tesla cars. Tesla cars, it would appear to me in my mind unresearched and uninitiated, and I simply don't know better, but it would appear that they used leftover SpaceX material. It's like, yo, Elon, yo, what's up? Mr. Musk. Mr. Musk, there's an invoice here from JPL. What? NASA, Jet Propulsion Labs. They sent like whatever. There's some space. So they've sent up rockets. They've got $1.5 billion deal. That's called sales, not me rambling here and bipolar. And I have issues within issues, and not just not just no shoes. Yo, so Elon, NASA is saying that we have this leftover space material. I'm holding on to this because I need to talk to you about 15 minutes, okay, among other things. 15 minutes is very important. 15 minutes a day can change your life. This is it. And you got to choose. Like, I'm all over it. Like, I want to do 15 minutes of what? Okay, so they use the leftover SpaceX rocket ship building stuff to create space cars. I met someone on the street, like literally not a street guy, a regular person. I was in one of my manic phases, walking around, smoking, drinking, buying people coffee, smoking weed, acting crazy over the last couple of months. Yeah, it's like I'll have a month of fun, and then I'll get into this bad situation, and then I go to jail, right? And it's like, I asked my lawyer, have you slapped or hit anyone? And she's like, I actually haven't. We were arguing, and she's trying to straighten me out because I'm impossible to deal with. I know this. The people who are closest to me tell me I'm impossible to deal with. People who are closest to me, they don't
like they don't friend me on Facebook, this kind of thing. They're not gonna leave comments or anything. Like my elder brother's left me one comment on one of my YouTube videos, like in 10 years of me like doing this kind of stuff. So we're coming up on 2 hours. My goal is to hit this right on the head, right? Basically at 2 hours I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna press the stop button. I got a lot of unfinished material here that I was talking about. Maybe in follow-up videos I will conduct some research, as in watch this stupid thing, which I never do, which you should, by the way. Like, this is one of my failings. Like, if you create content, go back to it, revisit it. Like Gary Vee's big on this thing. You re-up it, you revamp it, you put in the keywords, you put in a thumbnail. Like, if you're getting clicks, make sure you respond to people who reach out to you. Okay, guys, Metallica just put out 72 seasons. I don't like the song. I love the song, but I don't like the song. Because it's not Metallica is why I don't like it. Because I'm a metalhead. And it's like, they're a business, and you respect them from that level. They're marketing geniuses. They're branding geniuses. They're musicians par excellence. But they're no longer a thrash band. Okay? Saint Anger, the album, whatever it was, 2002, 2003. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. 2000, I don't know. They took Kirk Hammett's solos out of the album. Kirk Hammett, lead guitarist of Metallica. Anyway, Metallica was, as far as I'm concerned, this is hypothetical, but this is what I say. I'm telling you guys it's hypothetical, but my statement to people in general, just because I'm feeling nothing out, is that Dave Mustaine created Metallica. Dave Mustaine of Megadeth created Metallica, and he was kicked out of Metallica for being too drunk. He was kicked out by a guy who basically did heroin for 10 years, like James Hetfield, the vocalist and rhythm guitarist and songwriter, and he's an amazing guy, and don't get me wrong. And anyway, Metallica just put out this song. I don't even know why I said that. 15 minutes is like this. If you want to exercise every day, the definition of that is you get your heart rate up to, because I say to you again, read every day, write every day / art, writing / your art. Like Kurt Vonnegut says, he says, I just think people should doodle. Like, you should doodle. Like, I suck at drawing, but at the same time, when I'm manic and I go to jail, like, and I draw on the walls of the jail cells, I'll have an assistant, not a sergeant, not a regular CO, and one guy's taking a picture, and I'm like, are you crazy? You're on camera. You're putting your goddamn career in jeopardy here. Are you joking? You're meant to be telling me to take this off the wall of my cell. Like, on the door, I use tissue paper and then ketchup and mustard and like the shiny like covers from like the puddings and things like this to create art and messages on my window of my jail cell. Not to mention inside the cell itself, I've got drawings and all these kinds of things. And my wife was asking me yesterday, like, how is it that, like, she unfortunately still looks down on me for this, that I tell her that jail is very enjoyable. Like, if you have a good, if you're lucky, I don't know what to say. Like, if you have a good cellmate, if you're on a good range, or if you don't have a cellmate, or if you have good books, or if you, like, guys, let me leave you with this. I wanted to say this earlier, and I'm rambling, and I'm panicking now because I've got 12 minutes, and I'm trying to wrap up some threads here. Because I do, of course, think about someone who's watching this, who may actually watch it, and then, on the one hand, I'm saying, I'm doing this for me. It's like the classic question, is art for the artist, or is it for the audience? And it's like, I literally have, I'm one of those guys who've thought about this for 10, 20 years. And it seems to be, that it seems to be one of these things that there's no answer. There is an answer, and the answer is the art is for the art. The art is for you and the user and everything. It's like, what that little nigga want? Everything. What's the name of that song? Everything. Yo, money. Yo, what are we gonna do? What guns we taking? Everything. And he's like, yo, we pushing the weed or we pushing the dope? Everything. Yo, who we making a move on? You know, and he's like, we're bringing, like, that's like the black thing right there. Like, you don't, like they say in sales, you crush the deal. My mentor, or one of my mentors or sales managers or whatever, John Dolacci, big Italiano in computer in Minneapolis at Computer Associates, where like 10, 15 years ago I was making like six figures in my 30s. Right? So I did that, by the way, among other things. It's like whatever, right? Anyway, experience. Sorry, digression upon digression. Like, I consider myself the biggest failure in life because I've done all these great things and I've got nothing to show for it. Nothing, literally. Like the clothes in my back and what I can fit into a couple of bags. I got stuff in storage. I got money in the bank. I got like whatever, a house that I bought with my dad in Calgary, but now I signed that over to my little brother. Whatever. But like me myself, not really much to show for it, right? Like, I've got YouTube videos out there. I've got some content online, and that's about it, right? In my world, it's a big deal because like hundreds of people potentially can find my stuff on any given day, or thousands. I don't know. I really don't know. It's not thousands, I don't think, but definitely hundreds or scores. Like, and if you can, it's like they say at AT&T with the ET ad, like reach out and touch someone. That's what you're trying to do. That's the whole thing. Is like, okay, as humans, we need to express ourselves, and you must not repress yourself, whatever the f that means to you, because there's this thing it's not as easy as it sounds, because it's like, then it's like, do you act, then this is what happens. It's like, are you creating an issue that you're then focusing on? It's like this. I feel angry, okay, so instead of taking my anger out on others, and instead of bottling it up, I need to delve into the anger. That would be the thing, the Gandhi move, right? The Buddha move, the Jesus Christ move. Okay? Peace be upon Christ. As a Muslim, I say peace be upon him, because as Shia Muslims, we say peace be upon them. And as Muslims, we say peace be upon them with regards to the prophets. Now, the problem with this thing is this, that you can create stuff with your mind that's not there, right? So when you're in the mode of decompression or distilling or processing, like I say to you, or I like to say that we humans are, this is what we are. I'm sorry, like, it sounds weird. It's apparently, like, as per one of my friends, like, I mean, he's actually an accomplished pianist and an existentialist, and he listens to the death metal band Meshuggah, and apparently they were all percussionists, and that's why they're like, and by the way, they're like from the 80s. Meshuggah, Overnight Success, they've been doing this thing for 40 years, okay, and they're pretty amazing, and their theme is existentialism. It's 6:30, so I got to call George Salazar, my client. I told him I'd call him, and I'm late right now, and I need to hang up and call him right away. And so I am going to, like, shut this at 2. I was tempted to keep talking. 15 minutes a day. Get your heart, if you want to meditate every day, then, like she says in Eat, Pray, and Love, right? And by the way, she's got a new book out. I don't even know her name, by the way, because I'm not into her at all. Eat, Pray, and Love, okay, is now Eat, Pray, and then hashtag FML, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that stuff is. But the only thing I know about this book, other than Julia Roberts and the movie, which I have not seen, I'd like to with my wife, I suppose. I should buy that on Google Play Movies, right? But for the fact that I still haven't finished watching Risen with Joseph Fiennes, best Christ movie ever, on Google Play. I've seen it myself. I've seen it with friends, like this kind of thing. But I haven't seen it with my wife. Anyway, so 10 minutes, she says in this book, is all you need to meditate. Now, I know why she says this. It's wrong, by the way. 10 minutes is all you need a day to meditate, because she wants the masses and people to sit down and shut the F up. SSS. Silence, solitude, stillness equals stillness. Silence and solitude. You do not need to sit down if you don't want to. If you do sit down, that's meditating. If you go for a walk in the woods by yourself, this is great. Your thoughts, the 10 minutes is your thoughts will settle down. Your day-to-day thoughts. You don't realize it. I don't realize it. Like, I'm rambling here and sending them all into the lens, right? 10 minutes, you get your heart rate up to 110 or 120. This is exercising. You want to exercise every day? Either lose your breath, and then you've worked out. At least once you lose your breath, right? Or you break a sweat, or you get your heart rate up to 110, 120. There's a science behind it, and this is how they train NASA people. And I've read a book and all these kinds of stuff, and there's people out there. It's like Will Ferrell in this movie. I don't know which movie, but there's a line. He's like, it's a real science with books and people and stuff like that, right? So 15 minutes. I'm trying to tell you, if you write for 15 minutes a day, will change your life. If you get your heart rate up to 110 or 120, 15 minutes every day. If you are serious about anything in life, in your life, anything, your relationships, your hair, your underwear, you're going here, there, everywhere, like whatever thing it is, like your finances, your job, your career, you have a goal. I want a Porsche, okay? And that's your starting point, right? And then it's like, how do I do that? And then you plan this thing out, and then you figure out specific things. Like that kind of thinking, you must deconstruct the thing, and you must approach it persistently and consistently, as they say in Amway. Okay? I say to you that you must do the thing every day if you are serious. There are no cheat days in life and in success, in working out. Like they say, you got a cheat day once a week. No. You work out every day. You do the thing every day. Okay? I've started a new blog. I'm not going to give you the handle. It's like an experiment. I decided I'm going to start a blog, and I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to email it to people and stuff like that. Right? Anyway. 15 minutes you read every day. I'm just going to leave it at this. I mean, the meditation thing, so you can meditate for days, by the way. Yeah, days. If you go to like Bhagwan Rajneesh. Okay, so Netflix, there's this movie, you can probably find it. It's probably like on the featured movies right now. In the 80s, there was this Bhagwan Rajneesh, the guy with the 96 Rolls Royces. Okay, this guy used to meditate for days. In jail, among other books, I find all these amazing books that changed my life in jail as well, which is another reason I love jail. 3 minutes counting down here. 2 minutes, okay, 1 second, right? Okay, so you can meditate for days. 15 minutes is a starting point. Elon Musk used to read for hours and days at a time, kind of thing. 10 hours a day reading. Sitting in like, they go to the mall and they'd be like, where's Elon? And then it's like, oh shit, where's the bookstore? And they'd go to the bookstore in like Pretoria or some goddamn place with like guys with machetes walking around in the alleys, and the kid's in the bookstore and he's in the back somewhere and he's just lost. Like, Elon Musk is something else. Like, he's something else. I'm just telling you what, like, if you look down on this guy, look down on Trump if you must, and whatnot, without trying to appreciate the qualities that make him successful, right? Elon Musk is something else, man. He's just something else. I'm just telling you what, like, this guy has achieved damn-God status in my mind, except for the fact that La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay, 15 minutes a day you write. 15 minutes a day you can meditate, which is stilling your thoughts, is the thing. 15 minutes a day you get your heart rate up, and then 15 minutes a day. So atheists being believers is like this. Prophet Muhammad said that the definition of a believer is anyone who, once they have done something bad, they feel sorry about it, that guy's a believer. Or a person who likes good and doesn't like evil, that person's a believer. My atheist friend says to me, well, that makes me a believer. And I'm like, yeah. So you can go to my Zaidi Boy channel, original YouTube channel, youtube.com/Zaidi Boy, and just look up the video, how atheists can be believers, or you can just Google Zaidi Boy atheist believers. I'm locked out of that channel. I'm not going to get anything from that. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm doing all of this for therapy. I say to you, create content. I say to you, talk to other people. I say to you, read. I say to you, goodbye. I say to you, 4, 5, 6. Oh my Lord, I'm going to hit my space bar here now.